If you have email, you are vulnerable to business email compromise, commonly known as CEO fraud. Why is it called CEO fraud? Typically, fraudsters play on employees' emotions by impersonating the CEO of an organization. Everyone is a target, especially C-suite executives such as CEOs, CFOs, HR, finance, and legal. Let's walk through some scenarios your company could possibly experience and review tips on how you can be aware and help protect yourself from becoming a victim. You received an email from your CEO asking you to wire funds to finalize a transaction. Is it truly from your CEO? How can you be sure, and what should you do to confirm the request? By hovering over the email address, look closely at the detail. You will notice the domain is .co instead of .com. Also, fraudsters can be very smart in using tricks in the name, such as a 0 instead of an O. You received this important email request. What should you do? Always hover over the email address or any links to verify details. Never click on the links without looking at the detail first. A fraudulent link could provide access for the fraudster. Always follow your company policy if one is in place. Other measures you can take to validate the request are: you could call your CEO or requester, visit the requester in person regarding the request. As mentioned, look at the email details. Does the email address match? Validate the wire instructions with your account details on file. As mentioned previously, CEO fraud could also target any executive. Let's walk through a scenario of HR fraud. You received a phone call from someone stating they had received an email from your HR executive, Jane Smith, requesting payment for an employee. You asked for documentation indicating the Social Security number on it, such as a W-4 or I-9. You receive the form via email with payment instructions and send the payment. Simply by hovering over the email address, you will notice it is not legitimate. Notice the domain is .co instead of .com, and Smith has 2 I's. These are small changes fraudsters make that in a hurry you may not notice. What should you do to validate the request? Always follow your company policy, and other measures you could take to validate the request are: call your HR department or requester, visit them in person regarding the request, look at the email details. Does the email address match? Validate the form received. Does it match what you have on file? Validate the payment instructions with your account details on file. A more recent type of CEO fraud is SMS phishing. Fraudsters hack into C-suite executives' cell phones and delivers a message impersonating the executive via text. What should you do if you receive a text requesting payment? Before sending any funds from a text message, follow your company procedures. Other suggestions could include: personally call and validate the request, reach out to another executive within the approval process, ask the person. When it comes to the wire and ACH payments, always validate the details, implement dual approval processes, and don't send payments in a rush. We're in your corner and dedicated to serving as a resource. Hopefully, these short scenarios provided you awareness of what business email compromise is and its many associated schemes. By implementing a few best practices and bringing awareness to your business, you can help mitigate the impact of fraud loss.